Hey, I'd like to welcome everybody to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today is a very special 2020 reunion episode. That's where I bring on guests that I've had on in the past, and I like them so much I brought them back again. So today I have Joshua Barlow on the line, and he's Managing Director over at Valhalla Fiduciary. Josh, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Adam. Good to be back. I loved the conversation last year, and I'm happy that you are having me back. Great to be here.
Awesome, and I'm looking forward to getting into what your views are and hedge fund industry news in 2020, what you see happening, and also get some updates on what's going on at Valhalla Fiduciary. But to start out with, let's just give the audience a little bit of background. So let's get into tell us a little bit more about what you're doing at Valhalla Fiduciary.
Sure. So Valhalla Fiduciary, the focus is that we're an independent director on investment fund boards. I spent my career focused in the hedge fund industry, launched this business a year and a half ago where I'm still focused on being on hedge fund boards. I do a little bit of private equity as well. I have one private equity client. I do one mutual fund board client as well. And there'll always be a little bit of that as the industries kind of collide together. But really the focus is being an independent director on private funds in the hedge fund industry.
That's awesome, and I think that is a great transition. Let's get into the hedge fund industry. Tell us anything interesting that you foresee happening in 2020.
Sure. Well, I'll preface it by saying I'm a glass half full kind of guy, right? And maybe that's obvious as an entrepreneur. That's probably pretty common. That might
be why I invited you back, right? Because I like the glass half full too. I'm just saying. Go ahead.
That's right. And I think that's part of if you launch your own business, it probably means you're confident. It probably means you're an optimist. And so for me, I'll start with that. The hedge fund industry, as the media talks about it, it's usually glass half empty. And there's a lot of glass half empty out there. If I think about why that is, that some of those ideas and I was reading a few different studies, and all of them kind of point to these same ideas, that there are more funds closing than are opening. And so for the fifth year in a row, more hedge funds have closed than have opened. And it's reduced, literally, one study said it's reduced the number of funds by 4,000 funds, taking it down to like 9,000 funds. Then it's the bigger are getting bigger. And a lot of that's probably pretty common when you think about 80-20 rules or 99-1 type rules, that 5 to 10% of the funds in the industry really receive 80 to 90% of the money. And so the big get bigger, but also what that means is it's how do you compete there? And so for the startup, for the emerging manager, I think it's harder to launch a fund than it's been since 2008. But you could argue maybe ever. And ever, you don't like absolute words because like in 1920 were they launching hedge funds? No, sure. Not really, right? So, but really since the industry has existed, this is about as hard as it's been to launch. So that's kind of your glass half empty. So if I think of glass half full, hedge funds had a great 2019. There's been a bull market, so most investment funds had pretty good markets. Peak assets, again, hedge funds reached their peak assets this past year. In 10 of the last 11 years, hedge fund assets have peaked at an all-time high. Will that happen again this year? I think so, and I think that almost regardless of what happens in the markets. And so those are some of the glass half full type approach. And then the other ideas is, look, with the 10-year bull market, and I think we all cheer for markets that go up generally. I do. I think most people do. We don't cheer for bear markets, but most likely the next 10 won't be the same as the last 10. And a bear market's a better market for the hedge fund industry, to be honest. A volatile market is a better market for the industry. And so some of those unknowns point to it becoming a good atmosphere. As the industry's matured, as you have the bigger getting bigger, as you have it harder to enter the industry, I think what that's created is it's created even better talent in the industry. And so if you are starting a new fund in the past couple of years, or you're starting one now, what that means is you probably get it. You probably know, oh, this is going to be challenging. You probably know I need to have a long-term perspective. I'm going to need a runway to do this. And so I think what that creates is the funds that are launching are even better than the ones used to be. And that's the same approach that I took in my business, right? I took the long-term approach. I knew that this wasn't something I was trying to do very quick, and it's gone quicker than I thought. I've had more success than I thought, and that's a good thing. But I think that's the approach that you have to have if you're a new hedge fund manager, and I think they do. So that's kind of your glass half full, and so I'm excited. I've had a great 18 months, and I think a lot of people in the industry have, and so hopefully that'll keep going.
Yeah, so you bring up a couple of points that, so, what you mentioned, I think there's still a lot of money on the sideline. So what you're talking about it possibly being another record year, I mean, that's not just half full. It's pretty plausible. Would you agree?
Yeah, we'll see, right? Every day when you turn on CNBC, there's a new peak, right? And almost regardless of asset class last year, they were up and up significantly. So, look, I'm not an economist. The portfolio side of the business really isn't my focus. Really, it's governance and operations. So it's not right for me to comment on that. But I would say, look, what are some of the hedge fund strategies that seem to be in favor? A lot of them are some of these strategies that are a little bit more idiosyncratic, almost investors preparing for, oh, maybe we should be hedged here a little bit. So some of your global macro, your multi-strategy funds that aren't necessarily just market trend funds seem to be where a lot of investors are looking and focused.
Talk a little bit more about the talent, which you brought up. So talent for new funds. And this is just from my perspective, interviewing a lot of people that, in my opinion, would have once upon a time gone into finance. They would have graduated, from these Ivy League schools, doing other things, and going the financial route would have been the quick ticket to a good paycheck, and put up a good fund, and there you go. Now they're going into other things like healthcare or even the technical side of hedge funds. Yeah, the technical side of fintech and or whatever we want to say there, and applications. They're like, I can create a software, or I can scale a company or a SaaS product, and possibly make the same money I would have made historically. But in your mind, you said the talent for the actual funds, the people that do stick or that do go that route, it's possible that they will be better thought out. And some of these funds may have, and again, nobody has a crystal ball on that, but may not have kind of the same turnover or the short duration of length, let's say, of time that the fund was open. So that seems super interesting to me. Yeah,
I agree with what you're saying. It's interesting. You never know the mindset of the new college grad, or even people that don't need to go to college. But I think it's a great world. The technology of the world and the contrarian views that are out there. I think there's lots of different ways to succeed now, and maybe you don't have to go the traditional route. And I think a lot of the new generation sees things that way, where they think, maybe I don't need to do it in this pedigree way. Maybe I can follow my heart and do whatever I want. I do some mentoring with college students at my alma mater, and it's interesting to hear kind of how their minds work, and you can see that a little bit, that some of them don't necessarily think in this just, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do way. Okay, after I graduate, I'm going to go here for 3 years, then I'm going to go get my MBA, and then I'm going to go to this big firm, and then right? And so
nothing like that now.
No,
for a lot of people, it's not like the dream job graduating. Now it's not Goldman Sachs and then go to an investment bank. That's not the dream. That's not the. I mean, for the same pedigree of students, that would have been the dream at one point. I'm going to work 100 hours a week. I'm going to do this for X amount of years. Then I'll use my contacts, move up, go here, and then I'll work for a smaller shop, and then I may have some quality of life. Now it seems so different to me.
That's exactly right. And so you have this approach that, well, there's lots of different ways to accomplish what I want, and maybe there's different things that I do want. Maybe they don't necessarily just want that, but so from the talent perspective, you still do have people that will go into finance. It's still an incredible industry, and part of that's because it has great margins. And so where does that talent go? Yes, a lot of that talent is at the bigger firms because they keep growing, and that's an easier path. And so if you're going to take the view of, you know what, I'm going to leave the big firm and I'm going to go launch my own fund. That's kind of a courageous path, and that's always been the entrepreneur path. But what that means is, one, maybe you're just crazy. Maybe you just had that much confidence.
One of the two is possible.
or maybe you recognize that, okay, I'm going to have to be that much better. If I'm going to leave the mothership and I'm really going to go challenge, and I'm going to try to be that mothership one day and build something even better. And that's kind of where I look at that talent is pretty good. And so the talent that is starting funds, they get it better than in the past, where in the past you probably had a little bit more of the, hey, this will be a quick way to make it happen. This will be, I can go charge 2 and 20. This will be a fast way to make a lot of money and have a great career. It's hard now. And so to make that decision, there's no guarantee whatsoever. And so what it means is they're probably pretty talented. They get how hard it's going to be. And they really do think, you know what, I have a better mousetrap. I have a better way of investing. I have an edge that I couldn't. Being at Bridgewater or being at DE Shaw, I was too constrained, or even at Millennium or one of these big shops. I was too constrained, and now this is going to allow me to really achieve what I want to try to pull off.
Man, I love your insight on that, and you have a unique perception and vantage point to make those comments. I love it. So, Josh, I could talk to you about this all day, but looks like our time is about up for today. So, if somebody does want to learn more about Valhalla, what's the best route for them to do that?
Probably just to go to the website, valhallafiduciary.com, or the short version, VALFC.com. I'm on LinkedIn. And that's the best way to find me.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Josh, really appreciate you coming back on the show and giving us your updates and of what of 2020, what's going on in hedge funds. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store, share this with your friends, your family, your colleagues. I mean, do all those great things we do to support our podcasters. I really do appreciate it. And Josh, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks, Adam. I appreciate it.